So it's kind of a gray day here in St. Augustine. It's a Saturday. Not many people out on the road. It's kind of rainy, going to be rainy pretty much all day. Although we've got a little break afternoon and we're going to take advantage of that and go finish up the last of our provisioning. So we're trying to get down to the Bahamas, and our challenge is the weather as usual. We're ready to go, but I'm not sure the weather's ready for us to go. So we've got a little narrow window, and you can see from the forecast here that we're getting some winds from the right direction, but they're a little strong, and then they lighten up as we get offshore. And then as we get down into the Bahamas, the winds turn around and come from the wrong direction. So even though we like to check in at Green Turtle Cay, we're going to enter the top of the Bahamas and probably stop overnight so that we don't have to battle the southerlies around for 12 to 18 hours. So that's the plan right now, is leave around midnight Sunday night, Monday morning, and we'll get down to the top of the Bahamas Tuesday morning, and we'll anchor at Greatsail Cay before we head down to Green Turtle. So that's the current plan. Hopefully the weather will either improve or hold with that forecast. So we've got some wind and rain this morning here in St. Augustine. It's Sunday morning, and our weather window is still holding to go down to the Bahamas tonight. So we're going to let this system kind of pass through here. We're supposed to get some fairly heavy winds and a little bit of rain. And the forecast shows we have about a day and a half of northerlies that we can ride down to the Bahamas. So we're going to give it a shot at midnight, I think. We're leaving an unlit channel here, but we've been through it many times. We've got tracks laid down, so we know where we're going. And we've got the spotlight. We can always pick out the markers. So we are on our way to the Bahamas, and why is Betsy all bundled up? Well, because it's freezing out here. When we left St. Augustine, it got down into the mid-40s, and it's pretty much hung with us as we headed south. Hopefully as we get over closer to the Gulf Stream, things will warm up. We are taking our watches inside right now, and you can see that the ocean is a little bit angry. Not really. So we had 15 to about 22 knots last night as we came down the coast. Wind was mainly behind us, which is where we like it on a catamaran. And right now we've got about 1.5 meters waves and cloudy skies, and it is warming up, but it's still not warm enough for Betsy. It's pretty quiet out here. We haven't seen any other sailboats or ships or anything, so we are just do a little motor sailing. We only have about 10-12 knots behind us right now. We need to make a little bit quicker time than that will allow under sail alone, because we have to get to the Bahamas in daylight. It's about 10 o'clock right now on Monday morning. So we are doing something that we don't normally do. We are running both engines because we're starting to get into the edge of the Gulf Stream. And we got about a knot and a half current already. It's going to get more like 3 to 4 knots. And we're trying to make our window into the Bahamas so that we can get to our anchorage in daylight. So we got to keep our speed up as best we can. As you can see, the waves are down quite a bit. We've basically got 8 to 10 knots of wind. Every once in a while, a little gust up to maybe 12 or 13. So this was what was predicted. We're going to continue to lose this wind as we go. So we'll be doing some motoring. So the sun is setting on the horizon there. We're still motoring. And we should be in the Bahamas in about 12 hours. Ran into a couple odd vessels out here, group of 3, only one on AIS. We had no idea what they are, so we gave them a wide berth. It is sunrise, coming into the Bahamas. We'll be crossing in about 2.5 hours. We made it down from St Augustine in about 32 hours. About half of that's been motoring. Our wind died yesterday afternoon. And so we've been motoring. Spent some time in the Gulf Stream. So we're just going to watch the sunrise. So we are in the pretty blue water of the Bahamas. We're motoring along in about 15 feet of water here, which is fairly common. And we've got about 25 miles to go to our anchorage. So we'll get there probably around 3 o'clock, which is good, before it gets dark. We've kind of had to motor for the last about 20 hours, basically because the wind was not sufficient to sail. And like right now, we've got only 5 knots of wind and it's right in our face. We came in through the top of the Abacos. Now our first stop is going to be Greatsail Cay tonight, which we've never been to, but it looks like it's going to give us protection from the southeast winds that we're expecting. So we're glad to be in the Bahamas. I don't know that I'd take the route that I took this time. It almost looks like we're just out in the middle of the sea here because you can't see any land. But we ended up with spending quite a bit of time, as you can see from our track, in the Gulf Stream. Because the Gulf Stream came right by where we were entering the Bahamas. So hard to avoid. And it slowed us down, caused us to have to run both engines to get the speed we needed, which used up quite a bit of diesel fuel. So we had it on board, but we don't like doing that, but we had to this time. So Greatsail Cay, here we come. It's about 4:45 in the evening, and we are at anchor here at Greatsail Cay in the Bahamas. Made the pass from St Augustine in about 36 hours, day and a half. It's pretty good, almost 300 miles. So there's almost no wind tonight. We've got coverage from the south and east, which is where the wind is expected to come from. So nice little beach over there, but we're gonna stay on the boat tonight and get some sleep. Head for Green Turtle Cay tomorrow. So we left our anchorage off Greatsail Cay, and we are motoring again. Probably like, do these people ever put their sails in? We do, but today the wind is right in our face. And so we are just kind of bouncing through the waves. It's not a lot of wind, about 10 knots, but never fun to motor into the wind. But we've got about 50 miles to go. We haven't checked in yet, so we've got to get checked in with the Bahamian Authority so that we're legally in the country. So we're kind of flying the Q flag and not going ashore, but we'll get to Green Turtle this afternoon, and tomorrow morning we'll be able to check in. The Customs Immigration office there is usually open from 9 to 12 these days. So just a day of motoring into the chop. So after slogging through the wind all day, 10 to 15 knots on our nose all day, bounce, 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 bounce. 20 minutes after we get to the anchorage here at Green Turtle Cay, the wind dies. It's always the way. I love sailing. So this is one of the anchorages here at Green Turtle. It's the one we kind of like. It's the one closer to the commercial dock over here. But it's a quick, easy run into town. Basically going the inlet right over there. And the inlet right over here takes you to another part of town. That's where Marina's at, where we're gonna try to check in tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. That's way over here. I got turned around way over there. So over there where I was pointing a minute ago, that's actually a little marina there where we can get some fuel. So, but as you can see behind us, it's just pretty and flat now. Sun's almost gonna set. That was Whitecaps 30 minutes ago. Crazy. So back on the boat after about 5 hours, I guess, to check in the Bahamas. Went to the Green Turtle Marina. Usually there's a customs person there at least part of the day, and I'd heard that they're working 9 to 12, but got there at 10 o'clock, nobody there. Ended up getting it done about 2 o'clock. So a few phone calls and whatnot. So we're legal, we're in the Bahamas, so gonna chill out here. Betsy's been cleaning the boat, and we'll head down to Marsh Harbor tomorrow so that we can get our hotspots fired up so we can have a little bit of communication. So we managed to burn about 60 gallons of diesel coming down here to the Bahamas. So we have extra fuel on board when we make passages. We have 10 5-gallon diesel cans, and I try to always have them filled and the main tank filled, which is 120 gallons when we leave on a passage, just, so we don't have to worry about fuel. So we managed to burn over 60 gallons getting near the Bahamas, so we're having to use our 50 to top the tank off. And this is the system that I have. Basically, it's a drill driven pump, and it takes about 2 minutes to empty each 5-gallon container into the main fuel tank. And we also use the containers to get fuel. We can go into smaller docks and get fuel with a dinghy pretty easy. And we can also inspect the quality of the fuel in the cans before we transfer it into the tank. I don't have an extra filter as it goes into the tank, but that's something that I've thought about adding. So we are in Marsh Harbor. We got here day before yesterday after checking in at Green Turtle Key Marina. It's a busy little place. It's busier than it was last year. We've got about I don't know, 20-25 boats in here. People come and they go. It's a little cloudy today. So this is where the major airport is at, and also where the biggest grocery store is at. So people tend to come here and pick up people and pick up groceries. We're going to leave tomorrow morning and go over to Hopetown, and there's supposed to be a kind of a dinghy party there, so we're going to check that out and be there for a few days. We haven't been to Hopetown yet, so that should be fun. So that's our trip from St. Augustine down to the Bahamas. We're going to be continuing to explore the Bahamas, so please join us next time as we check out the beautiful waters of the Bahamas and see what kind of interesting things we can do down here. Please hit subscribe and like this video. We'll see you next time.